Hi YouTube, this is Falcon Laser, and in this video, I'm going to show you a surround sound system that you could get for the price of the Bose Lifestyle 525, which is $2,800. And I'd bet you $20 if you had a group of people listen to this system and a Bose Lifestyle 525 side by side in a blind test, over half would choose this system as the better sounding system. Now I'll say Bose's Lifestyle systems don't sound absolutely horrible. The Lifestyle 525 would be an awesome system for about $800 to $1,000 at the most, but $2,800 is pretty nuts. While you may not be able to get a system that's as overall aesthetically pleasing, simple, and easy to use as a Bose Lifestyle system for this price, you will get better sound quality. However, I often hear people buying Bose's Lifestyle systems because they think they're getting the absolute best sound quality for the money, or at least the best sound quality from small speakers, and consider the aesthetics and ease of use as just an added bonus. In almost every case, though, I find the only other systems they've ever compared Bose to are the cheapest of cheap systems that Bose will sound better than. And they've never even heard of any brands in Bose's price range. So the point of this video, as is the point with all my videos, is to open people's minds up to brands and systems most people have never even heard of, and if you're ever considering buying a Bose system, or just a system in general, you'll know what else to consider. Anyway, let's start looking at this system. First, for the speakers, we have the Bowers and Wilkins M1s, which you've been staring at since the video began. You can get them in either black or white, as seen here, and it's the same design all around, except you can tilt one of them on its side for use as a center speaker. And they cost $250 each, so $1,250 for 5 of them. As for the Bose Lifestyle 525's direct reflect speakers, here's a picture of one. The newest Bose surround sound systems have almost completely redesigned speakers. Here's a picture of the older direct reflect speakers. As you can see, the new ones no longer have the swivel mechanism, but the drivers are still angled inside the cabinet. Despite the redesign though, according to Bose tech support and 2 Bose dealers I talked to, the redesign is almost entirely cosmetic. They have the same sound quality, and in fact, Bose tech support told me they even have the same drivers the old Bose direct reflect speakers had, a picture of which is here. I'll say for a company that claims to put a ton of research into speaker design, you'd think they'd improve more than just cosmetics when they come out with new speaker designs. Well, how do these speakers compare? Well, first of all, while this picture isn't perfectly to scale, the Bowers and Wilkins M1s are actually about the same size as the Bose direct reflect speakers. So if you're considering a Bose Lifestyle system because you want small speakers, well, here's a system that also has small speakers. As for drivers, while you can't see them that well, the M1s have a 1-inch metal dome tweeter, which is this thing, produces the high frequencies, and a 4-inch woven glass fiber mid-bass driver that produces the mid-range and mid-bass. The Bose direct reflect speakers, on the other hand, rely on 2.5-inch paper drivers to play only highs and mid-range. Here's a very crude picture of what they look like with the grill off. Anyway, well, in terms of performance, 2.5-inch drivers are typically too big to play accurate high frequencies and too small to play accurate mid-range. So the Bose direct reflect speakers drivers are physically limited in what they can play. Not only that, the Bose direct reflect speakers aren't made to play mid-bass at all. Instead, they rely on Bose's subwoofer, or as Bose calls it, the Acoustimass module, to play the mid-bass for them. And this is a bad design. And I have another video, which is this one, in which I explain in detail why it's a bad design. So watch this video if you want to know why in detail. But put simply, with Bose's design, you get stereo or surround highs and mid-range, but mono mid-bass, which screws up what the music or movie recording intends you to hear. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but the design isn't good, and the only other brands that copy the design are the ultra cheap brands that Bose will sound better than, which speaks volumes about Bose's Lifestyle system's quality. On the other hand, the Bowers and Wilkins M1s can play better high frequencies and mid-range, as they have drivers that are dedicated to reproducing those frequencies, and they are of the correct size to do so. Also, they can play mid-bass themselves, so they don't need a subwoofer to play the mid-bass for them, so you won't get mono mid-bass. In terms of build quality, the Bose Cube's drivers are made of paper. While paper can be a good material for speaker drivers, Bose's is low quality for the price. I mean, it simply looks cheap, especially compared to the Bowers and Wilkins M1's drivers. Also, paper is typically not used for reproducing high frequencies, so even if Bose was using better quality paper, they'd already be using it wrong from the get-go. On the other hand, the Bowers and Wilkins M1's metal and glass fiber drivers are much higher quality material-wise, and the tweeter is made of metal, which is a better material for reproducing high frequencies. Anyway, well, that's enough about the satellite speakers. Let's check out this system's subwoofer. We have here a Bowers and Wilkins ASW 608, which is $600. Well, how does this thing compare to the Bose Lifestyle system's Acoustimass module? Well, sub-bass requires a lot of air movement to reproduce, which is why subwoofer drivers are typically big. And this subwoofer here has a 10-inch driver, which is a typical size. The Bose Acoustimass module, on the other hand, has two 5¼ inch drivers, which are simply too small to play low and loud sub-bass. So this subwoofer can play much lower and louder than Bose's Acoustimass module can. I think one of the first things you would notice, especially when watching a movie, when comparing Bose's Lifestyle systems to this system, would be this system would be able to shake the ground a lot more. Well, that's all the speakers. Let's look at the AV receiver. An example of one is a Yamaha RX-A 750, which is this thing, and it costs $650. Now, in terms of cosmetics, the Bose Lifestyle 525's Media Center does have this AV receiver beat. But the question is, do you want a $2,800 system that has a nice looking AV receiver, but has $800 or so sound quality, or a system that has a not so nice looking AV receiver, but has $2,800 sound quality? And that's what this AV receiver has. Now, I have another video called Bose Lifestyle versus Yamaha AV receiver, which I explain how Yamaha's AV receivers are better than Bose's Media Centers in much greater detail, as there's some technical things that take way too long to explain in this video. And while that video is a little dated and a few of the things I say near the beginning are relevant now, the more technical things still apply. So watch that video if you want to know more. But some key advantages this AV receiver has over Bose's Media Center is it has more HDMI inputs, it's capable of 7.1 surround sound, and you can connect an iPod to it through the USB port, as you see I've done here. And just like Bose's newer Lifestyle systems, it can stream music wirelessly, and it has a room correction feature similar to Bose's Adapt IQ, so it's even on features in that regard. But now something this AV receiver doesn't have that Bose's Media Centers do have is Bose's Unify feature, which is Bose's greatest invention ever. However, you could get a Logitech Harmony 650 universal remote for about $80 that make this system about as easy to use as Bose's Unify feature makes their systems easy to use, aside from showing you how to set it up. And to see how one works, you can find videos of them here on YouTube. Also, in that aforementioned video about Yamaha's AV receivers, I show my Nevo remote in it, and while my Nevo remote is fancier than the Harmony 650, it works pretty much the same way. Anyway, now I should note that chances are you may find a Bowers and Wilkins dealer that doesn't sell Yamaha AV receivers, and in this case, I'd get whatever $650 or $700 AV receiver the dealer recommends. Some brands they may have would be Denon, Marantz, Sony, Integra, Onkyo, or Pioneer. All of these AV receivers are going to have similar features to this Yamaha AV receiver, so what I said about how this Yamaha AV receiver compares to Bose's Media Centers still applies. Anyway, well, that's all this system's components. As for cables, I'd recommend about $100. That includes speaker wire and a subwoofer cable or wireless subwoofer adapter. I'll say cables are a very controversial thing in the world of audio. Some people insist on expensive cables while others don't. But I'm just going to take the middle ground here. I just stay away from rock bottom quality cables. Anyway, well, if you add up the cost of this system's components, it all comes out to about $2,800, which is the price of the Bose Lifestyle 525. And again, I'd bet you $20 if you had a group of people listen to a Lifestyle 525 and this system next to each other in a blind test, over half would choose this system as sounding better. Heck, I'd bet you the same if you put it against the Bose Lifestyle 535, which is $700 more. In fact, if you're willing to spend $3,500 on a Lifestyle 535, and one of the reasons you want one is because it has small speakers and/or it's easy to set up, well, get the system in this video for $2,800 and pay a dealer $700 or so to set up your entire system for you. That way you wouldn't have to worry about setup at all, and you'd still have a better sounding system than the Lifestyle 535. But now if you're willing to spend $3,500 on a Lifestyle 535, and you don't care about more difficult setup or you already plan on having a dealer install it for you, you could make a couple modifications to the system that'd make it worth $3,500. First, you could get a better AV receiver, such as the Yamaha RX-A 850. It's a picture of the older model, but the new one looks the exact same. And it is $900. Basically, it just has better sound quality than the RX-A 750. You could also get a better subwoofer, one of which I'd highly recommend would be the JL Audio Dominion, which is this thing. This is the 10-inch model, which is $1,000. JL Audio is known to make some of the absolute best home subwoofers you can get. Not only can they play loud, they also have amazing sound quality, but up until now they've been extremely high-end, costing $1,500 all the way to $15,000. However, JL Audio has finally come out with some more affordable models, and this dealer said they pretty much blow away every other subwoofer in their price range. And that being said, this subwoofer would absolutely annihilate Bose's Acoustimass module. But honestly, to get your money's worth at that price in a way in which you'd have the best well-rounded performance, not just only in terms of detail and sub-bass, you'd be better off going with actual big speakers. And I have another video in which I show a system made up of bigger speakers made by Bowers and Wilkins at that price. Now yes, I know people like Bose's Lifestyle systems for their speaker's small size, but at a price point of $3,500, the diminishing return for your dollar really kicks in with small speakers. At that price, bigger speakers are almost always going to be louder, fuller, and more dynamic than any small speakers will. But if you still want small speakers, again, just get the system in this video and save yourself $700. Okay, well that's pretty much the system. But you know, I can talk up this system all day, but I'm not going to convince you it's better than Bose's Lifestyle systems until you actually hear it for yourself in person, which I highly encourage you do. So go to a Bose dealer, have them play a song you like and own on a Bose Lifestyle 525, then find a Bowers and Wilkins dealer and listen to this system. And don't limit yourself to only Bowers and Wilkins. Paradigm, Focal, Kef, and Monitor Audio all make speakers that are close to the size of the Bowers and Wilkins M1s that are of the same quality, so I checked those out too. But anyway, play the same song you heard at the Bose dealer on this system and listen. Hey, maybe you'll end up liking Bose better, but maybe you won't. I'll say I've found after several years of making these videos and reading comments on them that most Bose fans have never even heard of Bowers and Wilkins or any other brand in Bose's price range. But I bet if they were to, chances are they wouldn't have bought Bose. Anyway, thanks for watching.